either Euclid. I believe this is Euclid as we're working our way north. We were over the 5 freeway a little bit earlier, but he never got on the freeway. It's been on surface streets for most of this pursuit. You can see Anaheim PD down there with Orange PD. They got a number of vehicles behind them down there. We actually see them blocking streets off as we're approaching streets like this major right here. And again, we're going to be approaching Harbor right now, and you can see him kind of making his way around it. This is one of the ones where he's not going to be stopping for the light. This is probably one of the most illegal moves we've seen since we've gotten over the pursuit. Stolen vehicle, very slow speeds. Unclear why they don't try to pit maneuver this vehicle, especially on these streets out here that are wide open this evening. Anaheim is the city right now. We are up a little bit higher because of that Disney TFR, picking up a little bit of speed now, maybe going about 40 miles an hour. Just heard that call on the radio as well. But again, this is a very slow speed pursuit. Streets of Anaheim, stolen vehicle.
Yes, Stu, and you're going through the downtown area of Anaheim right now. If you're on Euclid near Harbor, Euclid and Harbor actually run parallel. You mentioned this is started in the city of Orange. Is that true?
That's what we were told. That's the way we understood it. We picked it up. It was just inside the Anaheim area. And right now we're just northbound Harbor, passing Wilhelmina, I believe was the street that they just called out. And again, you can see these two officers right there on this guy's tail. Again, slow speed pursuit, but it's a stolen vehicle. I've heard the word, I have not heard the words anything about any kind of pursuit intervention, any kind of pitting or anything like that at all. Right now, though, you can see that one officer getting a little bit closer to that car. Stolen vehicle out of the Orange area. And again, Orange PD was the one that initiated this pursuit. We've been in the Anaheim area for most of the pursuit that we've seen. Again, very slow speeds out here, and the officers from Anaheim working with Orange PD right now. We're going to just follow this vehicle, trying to get him to stop. Stolen vehicles, the want, very slow speeds, very empty streets out here at this time of night also. Getting a little bit wider. You can see exactly how empty the streets are. We're approaching La Palma right now, and he apparently was slowing down there for a moment or two. That was the call I just heard. I didn't see that, but again, we're northbound and we're approaching La Palma. He's been on La Palma earlier on. We did hear that street earlier on, but it looks like he is going back onto it again. We'll get a direction here. Eastbound right now, eastbound La Palma from Harbor.
Sue, you can see this driver just really being, almost cautious. I don't know what other word to use as the driver approaches intersections, stopping and being, again, slow and relatively safe. And this gives the officers, one would think, just a lot more options and certainly sort of time, if nothing else, to get other vehicles off the road and out of the way.
Well, we have seen them pull that move. The officers out here in the Anaheim area, when we first arrived over it, there were actually officers blocking intersections as he approached, making another turn here onto another major. It's just southbound right now. The next street is going to be Anaheim. I did catch that. But again, it's been going very slow. Officers actually have been blocking intersections. We did hear earlier on, while we were making our way out to this pursuit, we did hear him actually stopping for lights at intersections and then continuing on. And you're right, officers do have, because of this is so slow, they might have more of an opportunity or plan, but this also makes you kind of wonder, maybe they know something about this pursuit that we're not sure of. We understand there's only one person in that vehicle. Right now we are, southbound Anaheim, and we just passed North Street.
And Stu, you were talking about TFR earlier, and just to clarify, temporary flight restrictions is what that means. And over Anaheim, when you were near Disneyland, of course, that's probably because of the fireworks that the park has on a nightly basis. I don't know if that's over by now. It's probably around 9:30 that happens usually. But any other word on any word or information on this driver, Stu?
Nothing at all. We know that there's one person in there. We believe that person to be a male. It's a stolen vehicle. That we do know. At least that's what they were. That's the original want on the vehicle. That's the reason why the lights and sirens came on when officers got behind him. You saw that helicopter right there. That's going to be one of the Anaheim helicopters out here. And again, you lighting them up. That's the one person. There you go. You can see one of the officers right there blocking the intersections. We just passed Lincoln, and again, very slow speeds out here. Very slow moving. Officers not approaching that vehicle too closely. We have seen in the past when they do have this type of stance, there might be some sort of reason. Perhaps this person was armed. We don't know how this vehicle was stolen. Maybe it was something like that. But again, you can see this very slow moving pursuit out here. Still well established in the city of Anaheim and moving very slowly out here as we're working our way south. And again, the next major freeway way ahead, so he doesn't really even have an opportunity anymore to get onto a freeway. But again, very slow moving. The initial want is going to be theft, but we don't know why they're not doing anything more aggressive to make this vehicle stop. And that was Santa Ana Street that we just crossed as we're working our way southbound on Anaheim Boulevard.
Stu, you would have to wonder if they're possibly in communication with the driver of this vehicle, or maybe, as you mentioned earlier, they know something about the driver and the driver's state of mind, or perhaps, as we have seen in other situations, that they're talking to someone else who knows the driver and getting information. But certainly we haven't heard, you haven't heard that there has been any communication at this point, have you?
We have not heard about any communications. Here we go again. There's a red light right now, and he slowed for that red light, but he did blow right through it there after he did slow down. That was South Street we just passed. You know, again, we could speculate about what is going on with that driver and why the PD is taking this stance right now. Sometimes, you know, with this type of situation, maybe they're balancing it out. It's like, how much harm is he going to have to civilians, to what type of force are we going to use to get this vehicle to stop? Perhaps they know where this person may live or where he might be going, so that might be part of it as well. And maybe it is just that slow demeanor of this suspect that they're chasing this evening that's keeping them just kind of at bay, just far enough where they're right on him, so when it comes to an end, they'll be right there. But again, they don't want to take that aggressive stance right now and perhaps harm somebody else, maybe by doing a pit maneuver or some other type of setup. He hasn't been doing blocks. We've seen in the past these suspects, they'll get into a neighborhood and they'll just make big blocks. He has been in Anaheim, but he hasn't been making these big blocks. We're still southbound Anaheim, major street out here in the city of Anaheim. The next freeway is going to be quite a ways ahead, coming up on another stale red, as they call it. That means that that light has been red for a while, but you can see these vehicles kind of waiting there. And again, just slowing down as he's approaching that intersection and then making his way very slowly through there. That one is going to be Ball, as I understand it. And again, we're just keep on moving, nice and slow. Officers in pursuit, stolen vehicles, city of Anaheim. We're we're just working our way south out here through the city. And again, it is just a very tedious, slow-speed pursuit this evening.
You know, obviously, we don't want this pursuit to continue, but if it does, it's a good thing that he's driving slow. There aren't many pedestrians out there. It's sort of late at night, and in Anaheim, it looks like the surface streets are pretty clear. He's headed back to Disneyland right now. And Stu, you mentioned that this has been surface streets all the way from Orange to Anaheim?
Pretty much Orange to Anaheim. We never heard him on any of the freeways. We're working our way very slowly here on Anaheim. You know, I said earlier on that the freeway was quite a ways up. You know, slow and steady wins the race. We're coming up on the 5 freeway right now. He's been on Anaheim. We're coming up on the 5 freeway. He might make a change. We haven't seen him do anything before. He's been close to the freeways. He's been close to the 91. He's been close to the 5. Never got on to any of those freeways. But again, right now we are actually approaching slowly approaching the 5 freeway. On Anaheim southbound, I believe the next major will be the freeway. They are in pursuit. This is a full-blown pursuit. You got Orange PD along with Anaheim PD, but this guy staying in the center lanes, just keeping these officers right behind him. Stolen vehicle. And that's what we understand right now. Now that's the 5 freeway. We'll see if he pops out here on the other side. And again, if he continues southbound or if he takes another street out here.
Looks like he's slowing way down, or just continuing to go very, very slow as he crosses that intersection and goes right under the 5 freeway.
Right through that red light, too.
And this is right near the Disneyland area at this point. Is that correct? So we're not really seeing a lot of traffic, and you would think that you'd see many more vehicles and people are, okay, you're seeing a little more traffic as we get close to Disneyland. Is that correct, Stu?
Well, we are pretty much directly over Disneyland right now watching this pursuit, and I thought he was going to make a turn there. And that's Katella right there. That's another very major street out here right next to the Disneyland area. Anaheim is the street we're on. We're southbound. You know, Huntington Beach PD, that's the helicopter that's actually over this. Orange County, they work very closely together, the different divisions, helping each other out when they can. You can see right here that, you know, they have, many, I understand now I'm being corrected that perhaps it is going to be the CHP helicopter overhead. Maybe I got the call sign wrong. But again, we can see that Anaheim PD is here, and then also Orange PD is the one that actually started this. And now I'm being told that they actually have 2 helicopters overhead. California Highway Patrol just joining it, and Huntington Beach PD has been here using their light for most of the time.
And this is really interesting because, Sylvia, as you mentioned, you know, being so close to Disneyland, you would expect more pedestrians and perhaps traffic in this area. But Disneyland closed perhaps about 40 minutes ago at 10 o'clock this evening. And normally there are people who are still walking to their hotels or resorts, but it looks like perhaps a quiet night tonight, even at Disneyland.
And for a Friday night, right? That is somewhat unusual. Saw a few cars at that last major intersection. I think it was Katella. But for the most part now, we're going back to empty streets, and that's a good thing. Whenever you have any sort of pursuit, doesn't matter if it's a fast one or a slow one, you don't want a lot of people around. Once again, this pursuit started, it's reportedly a stolen car in the city of Orange, and it continues through Anaheim, headed south, and continues to be on surface streets and at a very low rate of speed. You see the cruiser behind this car right now only about, 15 to 20 feet away, and at points it's been even closer, but still nothing else is happening right now. And Stu, you're watching this. They're being very patient down there.
Very patient indeed, and we're continuing as southbound on Anaheim. We might be getting into the, we might be getting into the next city down here, Garden Grove area. You know, and again, we're trying to read the streets right there as we're passing them, but we might be entering into the Garden Grove area right now. But Anaheim PD still behind it. Orange PD is still behind it. Huntington Beach a helicopter overhead, and a California Highway Patrol helicopter overhead. They're basically moving there very slowly out here. There was also some question that maybe that vehicle can't go any faster. But again, this doesn't explain to anybody why he is traveling. So we're making a left turn now. Excuse me. Just made a left turn onto a very residential area out here, and still very slow moving. But this is the first time we've seen this type of activity. Again, this is a residential area now. Garden Grove is the city, and it's picking up a little bit of speed right now. Driving down the middle of the road, I'm hearing the officers actually saying that he is picking up a little bit of speed. Perhaps this is an area that he knows, and maybe he's going to bail out. This is a dead end, so it's going to be kind of interesting what he's going to do right here. There are some apartment complexes. Perhaps he knows the area. Looks like the gate is closing in front of him. And north end of the street, a parking structure, that gate closing right there in front of him. And now it's going to become something a little bit different as officers approach this vehicle armed and are ordering this guy out. You can see that dog right there trying to, wants to join that party for sure. It looks like, I don't know, nope, it's not. I thought maybe perhaps the gate was opening. It's just the shadows of the lights from the helicopter right there. It's a little, we are extremely high because of that flight restriction for Disney, so it is a little more difficult to see, but we do see officers with their weapons out, a K-9 unit right there at the first. And then, of course, that suspect not complying. He hasn't complied all night. I don't think there was no reason why he would do it right now. It's kind of a little bit of a tense standoff. And again, we don't know what the deal is with this guy and why the officers didn't use a pit maneuver. We've seen it in the past. If the suspect is armed, they won't be that aggressive because that person is armed, and it could result in some sort of exchange of gunfire. So right now, this vehicle stopped at a gate here at an apartment complex. I will get that street for you as soon as I hear it. And again, these officers armed. This is turning into a little bit more of a standoff. That vehicle's still running, but I do see the window is open now. The door is opening right now.
Okay, this is the end of a pursuit. Hopefully, we're hoping it ends here. That started in the city of Orange this evening with a stolen car. Orange PD, excuse me, Orange Police Department pursuing
that
this
dog
gentleman.
saying hello.
It looks like they are going
Oh,
to
look at
unleash
that!
dog.
Look at that! The fighting with he's fighting with the dog right now. The dog trying to bring him down. Officers are telling him that if he gets down on the ground, that dog would stop biting and attacking him, or bringing him into submission. You can see that dog really doing its job right now with that suspect. Officers from the from the Anaheim PD and Orange PD down there right now. They're going to be approaching him. They're going to take that dog. They've given him the command, so that suspect is on the ground. Officers are taking him into custody and checking that vehicle. So this pursuit coming to an end out here in the city of Garden Grove, started in the city of Orange. The K-9 unit doing his job there, taking that suspect down.